The Significance of Carleton Watkins and California Art by Emily Custock for Class ARE 221, California Art and Cultural Context. Watkins is viewed as one of the most significant California artists through his medium breakthroughs and breathtaking landscape photography. Watkins grew up in Onatah, New York, and spent a majority of his childhood hunting, fishing, and participating in the local glee club and Presbyterian church choir. Watkins heard of the California Gold Rush in 1849, and in 1851 decided to head to Sacramento to be a part of it. It was during his time in the West where he met Baron Collins Huntington. The two worked as business partners, delivering various supplies to gold mines. After things went awry with Huntington's business, Watkins traveled back to San Francisco, where he began working with an apprenticeship with daguerreotypist Robert Vance. Taking the knowledge learned from Vance, Watkins began working independently in 1858, photographing mining operations and land claims for financiers who were building their careers in the lap of the new state. In 1861, Watkins participated in a family excursion with one of his patrons, Trenor Park, to the striking Yosemite Valley. This trip was unknown to white settlers until 1849. Primarily because it took 24 hours by stage and mule to arrive at the valley from San Francisco. Also in 1861, Watkins loaded nearly a ton of photographic equipment, including a mobile darkroom tent, a dangerous assortment of flammable chemicals, and a large custom-built camera that produces mammoth negatives. The images, along with 100 other stereo views that Watkins took in 1861, were said to be of the very first photographs ever taken of the Yosemite Valley. Oliver Wendell Holmes and Ralph Waldo Emerson received copies through Starr King, and in 1862, the photographs excited further interest when they were exhibited at Gropel's New York Gallery. It was partly on their evidence that President Lincoln signed a bill in 1864 declaring the valley inviolate and leading the way to the national park system. This law was the first action that took place that began the National Park Service in 1960. In Watkins' later years, he traveled and photographed various parts of the world, including British Columbia, Mexico, Yellowstone, Utah, and Arizona. In 1890, however, Watkins' vision began to decline, and his arthritis increased, and by 1897, Watkins was completely unable to continue with his photography. After his health decline, the 1906 fire tragically burned Watkins' studio and traumatized him greatly, destroying countless works of his. In 1910, Watkins was admitted to Napa State Hospital for the Insane, where he later died at age 87. The only media that Watkins used throughout his career was photography. His photos were often several feet wide and tall and consisted of primarily urban and rural landscapes. Watkins' black and white photographs of the Yosemite Valley display the majestic details of the towering rock faces and atmospheric perspective, as the landscape stretches miles back into space. In addition, as the viewer of these photographs, we are faced with the realization that Watkins would have been undoubtedly shooting from dangerous vantage points as we look down upon miles of jagged cliffs and desolate forest. In the later photographs of areas such as Oregon City and San Luis Rey, Watkins captures distant buildings and stunning architecture that take us back to those cities over 100 years ago. Ultimately, each of Watkins' photographs makes the viewer feel small in comparison to the size of the landscapes. Yet we are also overwhelmed with serenity by the way which he portrays nature. Although Watkins' black and white imagery would not be artwork that would typically strike much amazement today, considering our advances in photography, Watkins' significance was rooted in his monumental achievements for his time. Today, cameras are abundant and easily accessible, and although film is still processed in darkrooms similar to Watkins' method, digital cameras make photography a simple process that can be accomplished in a matter of seconds. However, Watkins combined a virtuous mastery of the difficult wet plate negative process with a rigorous sense of pictorial structure for large format landscape work. The physical demands of this process were great. Since there was as yet no practical means of enlarging, Watkins' glass negatives had to be as large as he wished the prints to be, and his camera large enough to accommodate them. In essence, Watkins was not only recognized and commended for his challenging photography process, but for his ability to capture the natural world that surrounds us in a stunning format. Undoubtedly, his large-scale photographs would have been nothing short of breathtaking when seen in real life. for even Abraham Lincoln took positive action to preserve the Yosemite Valley after seeing them. If it weren't for Watkins' grand efforts and innovative artwork, perhaps the Yosemite Valley would not be the majestic land that it remains to be today. The characteristics of California artists stretch across a broad array of styles, techniques, media, and subject matter. However, the primary factor that ties California artists together and makes them significant is the fact that each is rooted in an appreciation for the state and its values. Firstly, the state of California created its symbols because they represented specific attributes of the state that are unique to it, and are today still honored because of their importance. Some of these symbols include the redwood tree as our state tree, the golden poppy as our state flower, and the grizzly bear as our state animal. This symbolism was evidently valued through California artists in even the earliest California artworks, such as the official program for California's Diamond Jubilee, the Admission Day 1910 California's Diamond Jubilee Festival poster, and California by Arthur Matthews. California artists also value the native people of the state, which is evident through the various artworks, such as The Dowry by Grace Carpenter Hudson, The World is a Gift by Frank Lapina, and The Earth Knower by Maynard Dixon. In these works, the Native American people are represented with honor and dignity. It is evident through these artworks and several others that the California natives inhibited great value by California artists. California artists also valued the people that came after the Native Americans and honored the working class through artwork such as the Industries of California mural by Ralph Stackpole and Pan American Unity by Diego Rivera. Lastly, California artists valued nature and the stunning landscape that is characteristic of the state. From coastal landscapes to majestic mountains and city architecture, the environment that is portrayed by California artists has made their art significant. Such artworks that represent the influence of the environment include Great Canyon of the Sierra Yosemite by Thomas Hill, Carmel Bay by William Keith, and Sea Wall by Richard Diebenkorn. It is the unique characteristics such as California symbolism, the state's native people, and the beauty of the environment that California artists have incorporated into their artwork, making California artwork unlike that of any other and significant in every aspect.